Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. Tonight we're going to talk about the electrical storm, and potentially once we get a little preview of some of the X1 ships, you'll understand why. And I would probably warn against people that are prone to seizures from watching this section. But we're going to go try and go through some of the changes that we've seen since the start of the raid. I think majority of them have been quite positive for people. There's a link in the right-hand side in case anybody'd like to join the show. Let's say hello to everybody. Lady Cat,
Hello.
Magic Mike,
Hi, everybody.
TSM.
How you doing?
Oh, just dandy. And I don't know. I guess we'll go to the calendar. We've already talked about. Yep, we're in the electrical storm now. VXP weekend. We still do not have Battle Pirates next week yet. We assume next week we're going to see a disappearance of the 170 to be replaced by the 171, 72, 73, whatever it's going to be. And we have the next contest, which I know Lady Cat's looking forward to.
Uh-huh.
Does anybody have any guesses on what it will be?
I hate to think.
Yeah, there's all sorts of possibilities out there. I'm looking forward to it, but it is going to probably be Thanksgiving related. So
All
yeah,
right.
let's see. Design diary, and then bounty the following week. Bounty 39, I think, which is Franco is going to try and help me out finding a picture for Bounty 39, which is going to be a difficult one. So wish us all the best of luck with that. And let's see. Is Predator popping in? Nope. Predator, it says device is not connected. So either, there we go. Let's see. There you go. Mute your tube. There you go. So we're going to have VXP weekend, and then we're going to have the Assault TLC the following week, which should be quite easy at this point. And you're going to get upgrade tokens for your Photon to get it to X1. Normal, you're not going to get anything for your flagship. So it is sort of a decision point. Do you need Defender tokens? If you need Defender tokens, maybe start upgrading some of your easier ships to get done. But as far as VXP weekend, that way you can complete the VXP weekend targets, damage free or close to it. But otherwise, I normally start doing my flag at this point because we're gonna get tokens for the remainder of them, for the normal photons, not the UAVs. So it's a choice at that point as far as how you want to do it, because during the Assault TLC, last time we did them with Zealots, I guess, right? Or whatever that was. Now you'll have the ability with a fully built photon fleet to pretty much run through them fairly easily. And we don't, just a word, word to the wise on what kind of choice you want to make there as far as how many Defender tokens, Defender VXP tokens that you want. Anybody else have any thoughts on the calendars?
I'm interested to think what people are going to be using this VXP weekend for, because with no new holes, and most people, if you're taking part, I suppose some people will be getting obviously the EMP fleet, I suppose, so they'll be ranking their holes up, but there will be enough time to build them, because obviously we've got them in the previous raid. So I'm not quite sure who's going to be utilizing this VXP weekend and what they're going to be utilizing it for, unless they, I suppose, in Pillage they got something different, I suppose, or in the TLC they might have picked up some Conqueror holes. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of people that are close to caught up or pretty close to caught up is, at least amongst the mainstream, is the Defender tokens, because this is the second VXP weekend in a cycle. You can usually run through those targets fairly easily, and just boom, 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 and stack up the Defender VXP tokens. But if you're already pretty full on those, and those aren't a concern, because the first week you need to coin a lot in order to normally complete those targets in a reasonable for a reasonable amount of damage.
I'm
Yeah.
out of Defender tokens, so that's my plan.
So for Lady Cat, I might consider during VXP weekend. But you also have FM going on, the new FM going along at the same time. During the first day or one of the days of VXP, be upgrading your Everests.
Right.
That's the key thing, I think, at the moment, is the Everest and the flag specifically.
Yeah. Mine's on the way to. My flag's on the way to U2, and also right now is a really good time to be upgrading your Everests.
It is, yeah.
So, especially the flag, as TSM mentioned, because I expect at some point that we're going to get a TLC that's going to give upgrade tokens. I'm not certain. We're never certain with the FM, but there's a higher chance that we're going to see upgrade tokens for the normal Everest than we are for the Cloudbreaker. The Cloudbreaker, I do not expect at any point along the way, until the the Everest are on their way out the door, that we'll get upgrade tokens for those.
Yeah, it's mega rare, isn't it, for any flagship to be given, any form of speed up for upgrade.
Well, yeah, for upgrade, yeah, and we did get the build tokens, which will show up in the what's the name? I forget the name of that TLC, but the easy one that you can just auto. That one gives you both the Cloudbreaker and the normal ones, but is I don't the TLC I have not seen yet, because this is the first time they've introduced upgrades for it. But I'm not sure that that's going to happen because of the much longer life cycle of the Everest. We may not get any of them, but my expectation is we're more likely to get the ones for the Everest than we are for the Cloudbreaker. So, all right, if we're done with the calendar, we can move on. All right, the electrical storm. I'm not sure how to walk through all the changes they made. Do we want? Well, let's take a step forward or two on the slides. All right. For one example, one more. All right. I've only done it for the 140 and 142 because we talked about the maps so much on the Wednesday show, as far as if we had a map of all this thing surfaced. At this point in time, all you need to do is wait for 5 minutes, and things are just all the submerged stuff is going to start popping up from left to right every 10 seconds, and then you'll have everything displayed to you, so you can zoom in and figure out your own paths. Because I realized once I started looking at these that probably nobody's going to, even though I'll go to full screen on this, that nobody's probably going to be able to figure out what these turrets are at this at the magnification I had to shoot to get the whole thing. And let's go to the 142, which is a little easier to look at. Okay, and so we have those two. It's a big change. Why don't we talk about this part individually? Oops, TSM is back. Why don't we talk about this part individually? They start to surface after 5 minutes, which could be good or bad. If you retreat after they surface and you go back into the target, they will remain surfaced. So there's some finer parts to this. One part deals with the Death Scythe missile. Previously, they would pop up within the range of your missiles. Generally, there's definitely some exceptions to that. But what that did not allow is for your UAVs that reduce the accuracy of them to even launch or have any impact, except for exceptions where you had, because a lot of these pop up in groups, that you could use your UAVs to reduce the accuracy to the ones that were further away. But generally, they don't pop up until you're right on, not necessarily right on top of them, but you're out of where the UAV makes any difference. But if you let it sit for 5 minutes, you will have the opportunity to allow your UAV to lower the damage. Lower the accuracy of the Death Scythe. It doesn't really, the UAVs don't really have a purpose besides the Death Scythe. The Stonefish, which also fires missiles, it does not fire at because it always stays submerged. And everything else is splash based. So accuracy does not make a huge, makes no change in your survivability in these targets. So, any thoughts on that part of it as far as the pop-up part of it? Because there's more to this.
Yeah, for me as well, I noticed when I was doing it, some of the UAVs will actually damage the stun turrets as well. So you've got to be a bit cautious as well, because obviously if you're damaging them and the range is obviously greater than your range, then your stun will go off and you're not close enough for it to affect the closest turret. So by the time you get to them, the stun's worn off, basically. So you just got to be careful when you and how you approach the target and what angles you go at, because you can be to your deficit otherwise.
And this is, at least in my mind, one of the unpublished parts of when they did this is they've reduced the stun efficiency of these towers. It used to be about 10 seconds. Now it feels like 3 or 4.
Two to 3, I'd say, yeah. But and it depends on what it is, obviously. And I know the Ghost Crawler stuns less than the drones, which is great, actually. I quite like that fact, because you can trigger the Ghost Crawler to go in one direction, then you can sneak around the back, kill off the drones, and then draw the Ghost Crawler out by itself. So in some respects, that's really handy. And I was doing that in one of my videos. But yeah, the Death Slide, definitely. By the time, even if you go straight out, my combat speed is 92. So as you can see, the bottom one in the bottom left-hand corner there. If I was to come in right across from the from the left-hand side there, it would have, by the time I've got across to where the Death Slide is, the stun would have already been off. It'd been finished. So I'm still definitely taking damage, whether I like it or not. And that's about a 3-second travel time. So it doesn't last long.
Yeah, because it seemed like when we were running through these on the Wednesday show, it felt more like it was closer to 10 seconds. Now, at least as far as the Death Scythe, as far as the turrets. In this example, we're looking at the 142. And if you look at the stun obelisk, or whatever you want to call it, up at the top, if you're going counterclockwise, once I get to that point where you see I'm almost in range of that the stun building, I just aim for the Ghost Crawler, and on the way I hit the stun building, and then start just shooting at the Ghost Crawler. I let 3 salvos go, and then I start going north. That one's one of the more useful ones at this point as far as the length of stun. But the rest of them, I don't really, like you said, I don't see a lot of use. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pointless. I mean, the one that's below the ghost crawler there on the left hand side there at the top, that one there. If you do come in literally at 9 o'clock, you can use that stun there to get that death slight a little bit. It's not brilliant, but you also need to have killed the ghost crawler first. So yeah, coming around anti-clockwise, as you said, take the first one out that's completely north there. Use that then to stun the drones, kill off the ghost crawler, then kill the drones, and then go out wide, and then come back in and use the second stun tower, and then take out that death scythe. So. Yeah, that's the only way. And there's another sneaky stonefish in there as well. So
yeah, and that's actually personally that's what I save that stun tower for is the stunfish, not
for the stonefish. Yes,
yeah, not for the death scythe.
And they're stunned for quite a while. Actually, that's quite handy. The stonefish they do seem to be stunned for about 5 to 6 seconds, which is definitely enough to get them down and kill them off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as you're in the right positioning. And they're there, and these targets take a lot of repetition to tune them down. If at least for if you're not running X1, it takes some repetition as far as like, oh, I can cut a couple seconds off here, or a minute off here, a minute off there. I do like that to a certain extent about these targets. But as far as some of the other things that they've done, does somebody want to enter a target, because it's these are all popped up. As far as the other change, the other big change that they made was there would be a whole network of underground buildings before everything popped up, and they've restricted what we see before they pop up to just what will pop up. So they've gotten rid of 70% of the underwater crap that we saw before, which is pretty helpful, because if something pops up, there's going to be something pop up if you go over some of those dark spots. Before, like 70% of it was garbage.
Yeah, we can go in one here. I've got a video. I've just put the video up. And that's got all the target popping up as it's going from the start, sort of stuff. I don't know if that's going to be any help at all, but because we can pause that. Hang on a minute. We just press pause if it will pause. Hang on. And then we can just.
Are you screen sharing it? You're not.
I'm just about to now. Yeah, I just wanted to pause it in the right place. So.
Okay.
Should be able to see it now.
All right. Okay.
So this one's just popped up. That one's popped up. But yeah, it was considerably more. There was connectivity, wasn't there, between all these, and these frames were connecting. That was connecting before. That was connecting before over here.
It came further out, further down.
Yeah. It looked like a delta wing before, didn't it? You could say that like a subsurface delta wing, as I described in the previous, well, not the previous, the intro stream I did. That and it. I mean, this is zoomed right out, by the way. That's why you can see so much. I think I had this set to about 65% zoom.
Yeah.
So you can get the whole target. And then obviously when you zoom in, you hit it fine. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I can go back much further than that, to be honest. But I mean, that one there would look like this one over here does, sort of stuff. So yeah, all you were getting basically was just the generators. I mean, that one shouldn't have popped up. And so all you see is the generators and the 3 ghost crawler sets. That was it. So there's definitely considerably less, which if you aren't waiting for them to pop up, because that's the method I'm using now, is just I just go in, wait for them to pop up. I'll go and do something else instead, and then after 5 minutes, I just then do the target. In fact, what I've been doing is just like letting it all pop up, and then just letting it auto now, because it's all now because initially the fleet was splitting up and going all over the place, but now that's stopped. So I managed to do, I think, 10 in a row, and the fleet didn't split once now. So it's been quite handy.
Wait. Explain why the 140 is not splitting for you.
So so I go in and wait.
Because right before the show, I had myself and Lady Cat try to auto the 140, and we split all the crap on. It would go up to the where that first titanium generator was. Mm-hmm. No, it would go for that first one. Just north. It would go up to there, and then it would split up. on mine, it was number 2 would start taking care of the ghost crawler and the little squids, and then the other 4 would head off to the right.
But that's because I'm
And they would
pausing
never
until the
hit.
first. Yeah, I'm pausing until this first
Okay.
death slive comes in. As second that comes up, then I just set it, press S, let them go, and then I just exit the target and let them get on with it. Because then they don't split. I mean, you'll see the difference here when this comes up. I'll press live so you can see that. I mean, this is speed up 8 times, so it's coming up quicker.
Yeah.
So then this now hit here, so they'll stay stacked now.
Okay.
You can see the flashing now as well. Look. So whilst this is this is a driven target. Sorry, this one.
Yeah, I was going to be like, that's quite the auto.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? No, this is the driven one I did the other day. So, but I can do one live in a minute. I mean, my fleet's all fixed. I fixed it up and I haven't done anything since. So, it's not great. It's not great at this rate. So we can watch this one driven, and I'll log in, and then we'll have a look at the we'll have a look at an auto one.
There was a pop-up below that said you were at. They're not
This is
at
the
X1?
They are at X1 now. So this is today's.
Oh,
video.
okay. Now I'm starting to see it, because sometimes when you're watching a YouTube video on a YouTube video, some of the stuff doesn't really pop up as well.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Do you see watching it? I'm not sure what you're watching, but a lot of the lightning is not showing up.
Okay. Well, let's stop this then, and let's
Okay.
Let's pause that and let's actually go then live into the game, and let's do it properly, shall we?
Okay.
I don't know if there are any crews help at all, to be honest, in this. I'm not really sure. I can't seem to make my mind up. I was ordering some other stuff a second ago, so let's just.
Well, because you're running the Hyper 30, correct?
So yeah, so we can look at that actually first. Is just to reiterate, okay, what I'm actually running here. Let's make it larger so people can see. Oh no, I can't because I'm. Okay, we'll have to do it this way. Yeah, so that's mine. The Hyper 30 basically, and then obviously the jets. I think everybody's using the jets. I think, aren't they? To be honest, FTL engine. Yeah, obviously, and I think the rest of it's pretty standard. To be honest,
for the ladies, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Wave pulse warheads, and then obviously the laser scope. So, and the thing I have done differently, and someone did mention on the TFC page, I've gone 3 corrosive because obviously I'm quite lazy and I like to auto a lot of stuff, and you can't counter much penetrative, but you can a bit. But the biggest threat is obviously the ghost crawler. So to be honest, and even when I'm driving, and whilst it looks like obviously the weapon is firing and I'm running away from it, it has a splash effect. So even though it did sort of look like it's falling behind me, some of it is going to cause splash damage and actually damage my ships as well. So whilst you can outrun most of it, you definitely can't outrun all of it. So I think I was getting 1% damage or something like that, which is not huge. I get that, but I'd rather try and stun, the stonefish and that sort of stuff, because they're quite high damage as well, which if you drive correctly then you can do. So for me, I don't need as much penetrative resistance, especially at X1 anyway. They're well past it now. So
yeah.
Anyway, right, okay, that's enough chit chat. So that's it, and I've still left actually on the where did I put them? So there's one there, and it's same. Everything's the same here, but I've still got. And I'm not taking them off now because I've moved on to start doing the FM fleet. So I'm just leaving with 2 ships have got the 2 of the MDS3s on. So which is quite a considerable drop in obviously damage, because look, this one's now nearly 10 million. But it is slightly.
But you don't have a special to guide them, so to speak.
No, I didn't bother with crunch measures.
Testing to see how many out of the 12, how many do you shoot down with no special? No counter.
I honestly don't think I should have done anything.
Okay.
But I'm not changing the fleet now because I can't be bothered. I've moved past it. So, but you notice that this one's 3.4 million extra. In damage just by 2 missiles, which is a considerable amount, especially when you start thinking about your building damage, because I'm on 332%.
Mm-hmm.
Why I went with those specials. And then I looked at, obviously, with the countermeasure one going, countermeasure loader, because it gives you, reload bonuses and that sort of stuff. And it almost as if you then got another missile, plus your countermeasures work and that sort of stuff. But it doesn't work on Stonefish. It only works on the one turret, the Death Side, and that sort of stuff. And it's got a really low chance. So to be honest, I thought, forget it. I'm not going to bother. And the only reason I put the NDS3s on there, because at the time I didn't have enough missiles anyway. And I wasn't going to put the standard missile on. So I thought, right, they're going on. They'll either do something or they won't do something. Turns out they're not doing anything. But
Yeah.
maybe middle of the month I might do something once I'm finished with the Everest, but I'm not doing anything now.
Okay.
It's just
I've gone different on my flag and one other. I've gone 3M and 1 CO, and then I've also gone guidance parameter 3 instead of hyper 30.
okay.
And I'm not an X1, but I like my results. I think the last 142 I did, I got 10 minutes of damage.
Okay.
And the thing is, if you take corrosive damage, it's all splash damage, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people that are out there that are, you're looking at it as a trade of, okay, I might take a little bit more corrosive damage if I have Guidance Scrambler 3, if I'm not able to drive around the ghost crawlers as effectively because I have lower combat speed.
Mm-hmm.
But I am taking less damage from the Death Scythe. So what happens with that trade-off, you might end up with the same or less damage. But if you have the hyper 30, you have the lower evade of the hyper 30, all that damage is going to be concentrated into a single ship or 2 ships, while the corrosive damage is going to be spread across 5 ships. So if you're one of those people that were like, okay, well, I'm going to take my whole fleet back and break it down and repair it, it's more likely that you're going to be instant in base with the Guidance Scrambler 3, as long as you're able to drive effectively around the Ghost Crawler and the little squid ships, if that makes sense. It's just the distribution of damage changes.
No, I hear you. Yeah, it definitely is. And for some people, they don't want to wait. I mean, I have been waiting till these things pop up, and we did have that picture where we swapped on that turret. Even if you do go into some of the turrets, I mean, not so much the Death Side, but you can actually buzz around the top here, deal with the Ghost Crawler, literally nip up around the top, deal with the other Ghost Crawlers, and by that time that's done, these buildings have popped up, and then you can see what else is left over, because that's going to take you a few minutes to do that. So if you aren't the sort of person that's like, I mean, I've been doing other things today, so I've like gone into target, waited, that sort of stuff, and then looked back across and gone, oh yeah, okay, it's all popped up now, and then I've just carried on with the target sort of stuff, But there's a good enough distance between these where actually you can deal with this mess here and then come right up around the top. Sort of. Well, we'll give it a go. We'll take a look.
Okay.
So this Death Side we're not going to do anything about, so we've got to hit it anywhere we like. I like the fact that it's there because it actually does help with stacking, I think, to be honest. Get rid of that res gen. We'll probably trigger this one and bring it down around and deal with it down here, to be honest, if we can.
Okay, you're tanking, right?
Only just to trigger that ship, that's it.
Okay.
Just thought I'd zoom in and show you how horrendous all this electricity stuff is.
Yeah, it's not as bad as some of what I saw earlier.
But that
as far as creating seizures and things like that.
Yeah. So they've now got the misting effect on the Ghost Crawler, which they didn't have initially, obviously. So
yeah,
I'm just basically trying to.
So it shrouds now, so it means you're not allowed to shoot at it.
But it didn't have that effect. I mean, it was shrouding before, but it didn't have the visual. Because there was definitely, when I did the first look stream, before it had deep dived, your missiles weren't firing. You couldn't arc, and now it's showing that obviously it's shrouded and there's nothing you can do about it, sort of stuff. So at least they're showing that now because they weren't showing the shrouding.
Yeah, and so have they forgotten why the retargeting is in there to shoot underwater.
I'm not sure.
But you understand what I'm saying, as far as, when it goes into, submarines go into a normal dive, you can shoot at them, and that's what, if you have retargeting. But yeah, that is. Do you want to explain what the lightning does?
Yeah, so it's a debuff basically, and that's why it's not working. Did you notice it was working on that res generator there, but it's not working on the stonefish because it can't obviously hit underwater, which is well, it can, but they're deep dive sort of ships, aren't they? So it doesn't really work. But you can. I just was pointing out you can sneak past that stonefish if you so choose to go and deal with this ghost crawler, and you can actually get around then and deal with the other ghost crawler if you want to go that way and limit as much damage as possible. It's sneaky here because there is buildings that pop up here, and it's not sort of indicating that that's the situation.
Yeah, and the other thing that's changed from when the raid started was the detection level of the ghost crawler, not the Desiccadus, but the ghost crawler. You used to be able to snipe out, unless you found the right angle to snipe them out, because you used to be able to snipe them out. Yeah, as soon as you get into range. But prior to the changes that they made yesterday, these two groups with the growth, you could snipe out all of them until yesterday.
Yeah, you could. But then again, I can understand why they've changed that, because then they can't give you everything. Otherwise, I mean, you can't be taking it.
No, my damage is still decreased based on the other actions they've taken. I'm just sort of, just so everybody knows, that this has changed if you haven't been playing recently.
We're a minute away, I'm sort of doing it a bit slower, but we're a minute away from the pop-up starting, and it's going to start over here, obviously. But we've killed the first turret, so it's not going to be a huge concern to us. But this one is well clear, and you can clear out this ghost crawler nice and simple. But you can see at the bottom that the damage is pretty low at the moment.
So, am I right that the world has changed its axis as far as when the sun rises in this water world? Then
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, because the sun rises. The sun never sets on the British Empire. But as far as the way, that, or it didn't. I don't know where. Never mind. I'm not even sure where the British Empire is anymore.
I don't think there is one, is there? Well, there is actually. We still own. We still have quite a bit. Quite a bit. Yeah.
Falklands and what else?
Well, it depends what you want to call owned, doesn't it? Really? I mean, is it? It's not really the political moment to talk about things like this.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's the same time zone.
Here we go. We're at 9:48. So you notice I'm changing the subject.
Yeah. Okay.
So, in terms of what? Who is the monarchy? Is that what you're talking about? Who's the monarch of the country?
The first thing was like the way that these towers or buildings come from the ocean is the opposite of the way that the sun rises and sets. And then, for some reason, just because you're on, I decided to talk about the British Empire. Yeah.
So you can see slowly here. Look, there's a little down arrow. I don't know if you can make them out, but there's little down arrows here, which indicate obviously that the. I have to say, the graphics are quite clever. I'm quite impressed with actually the design of the graphics here. It is quite impressive. Whether it's over the top, I don't know, but it is quite impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, and the way I'm seeing it through this is not. I've seen some YouTube videos with the X1 stuff.
So what's happening here? It's dying.
It's not as bad. Maybe they changed them, because I saw Apex Predator put a video out. I think they changed them to prevent people having yeah. Because the way his video went, I was like, because it was boom, it was all in between, not just the turrets, but all the space between the turrets was also getting this. And it was
really?
Yeah.
I was trying to indicate here that you don't have to be as accurate as you have done in previous raids. You can actually get into, what are we 120 range or something like that? I think we are roughly around that, aren't we? You can definitely get away with a 10 or 15 sort of, like if you've got a bit of lag, or if you're a little bit slack on stopping and that sort of stuff, you can get away with it just because you can come into about here, and you can get away with the scattergun's not actually targeting you. So yeah, so that actually did stun the stonefish. Then that's quite interesting. So, or reduce the output on the stonefish. But let's get in and stun that one there, which it has done. See if I manage to get around and kill it first. 1, 2, 3, not quite. So got one missile off. That's not too bad. No matter what we do, I don't think anything affects this death side in the middle. I can't seem to find anything that is close enough, even if you're coming through here, because you've got to deal with the stonefish. And by the time you've done that, the effect is worn off of it already, unfortunately. And you can sit here and wait. I mean, obviously, what was the maximum? Is it 30% debuff or thereabouts?
Yeah,
approximately.
Yeah, and if you have high evade, that's like I said, not running X1, but I was able to get like 80% evade running through these targets, and like 10 minutes of damage by waiting and letting the UAVs take advantage.
Mm-hmm. This is the last turret really that's going to do any harm to me, I think. Should be able to now take advantage of this stun turret. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. I need to go downwards. So if you go down around here...
Now it's doing what it was doing before, where it's communicating between the turrets.
They're chaining, yeah.
Yeah.
But watch it now. It'll hit this turret and it'll go across to here. And now look, it's already killing off that. So you need to time this quite cleverly. Because you want it to kill that. See, now it's already too early. So it's already worn off. Look. So that was less than 2 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's too fast. And it used to be, on Wednesday it was much faster. It was not nearly that fast as far as.
Yeah. We can double check. I can go back to the previous the video I did and just count it up in a minute. So I don't know how much damage that is, but it's not a huge amount. But then again, it shouldn't be. I'm on X1. I mean, that's the trade-off, isn't it? You don't upgrade and you suffer the damage and take your time. And if you want to get ahead, you have to coin. What did I get then? 1% taken and 3% taken. 2 minutes 55. So.
But you take 1 and 2%, and I take 1 and 1%.
But it's of the damage, isn't it? Yeah. Because I've hit this target with 1 and 1, and I still take 10 minutes of damage. So yeah, and that's a good indication. Then obviously, and people still, or some people don't still understand. It's of the damage you've taken. So if I've only taken 3 minutes damage,
or what's not of what you've taken, but what's been fired at you.
Exactly. What you received, as a ratio. That's a ratio. It's not a percentage against the ship's health. Which, if that makes sense, ship having 100%, it's not taking off 2% of the ship's health and 1% of the ship's health. It's taking off. If I've only got, let's say, got 1 million damage, or 1 million armor, and I've got 999,000 left. The 1,000 that's left that I actually did take, 2% of it was this and 1% of it is that sort of stuff. So.
Well, yeah, but it's because I think as far as the example that I was bringing up, the difference is the fact that you're killing, at X1, you're killing these turrets so much faster, so there is less damage for it even to launch. That can be evaded, shot down by countermeasures.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah, exactly. Which is also what I've gone for, particularly because the ghost crawlers are ghost crawlers and fantastic. Yeah, they'll die, but actually, it's those turrets that I particularly wanted to kill, the death sides, because they seem to have the, you can drive around the ghost crawler or you can armor against it as best you can, but the death side's the death side, and that's the thing that they even threatened in their own interpretation of the pre-raid briefing, that would give you the most substantial damage. So that was the thing. Why is it I can never find a target when you need one? So I was looking for one. Do you want to do 142 as well, or is that enough? I don't know. Tell me.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what people want to see, because, a lot of people don't have X1, I mean, but you can go ahead and show it as far as what it does. I'm just, while you're doing that, I would love for people in chat to let us know, have you figured out these targets? Is there any questions that you do have? Because I find them to be, they're reasonable. I thought they were reasonable targets before the change. Damage wise, I was getting, before the changes, I was still getting like 8 and 15 on the 140. I've not really gone into the 511 just because I don't like targets like that. I mean, maybe I'll eventually hit it just in case it shows up in a TLC. But is there any questions that anybody has as far as, I don't know, about anything?
I think I did something really wrong. Tried a 140 with my photon flag just finished U2. It's at U2, and the rest of them are at U1.
Okay.
The 140 waited for everything to come up and started to hit some targets, and finally it's like this isn't going well, so I jumped out, and my flag is at a half-hour damage, and everything else is just like a minute or two. So I don't know what the hell I did wrong.
And you have the Hyper 30 build?
I have, yeah, I think so. Unless I looked at something wrong, put the wrong something on. I got FTL engine,
Mm-hmm.
laser scope,
Mm-hmm.
pen battery 2, wave pulse warhead,
Okay.
high-speed missile jets, and Hyper 30.
Okay.
And one each of the armors, 2 each of the armors.
Yeah, that's
Something wrong.
yeah, that's sort of what I was explaining at the beginning of the show. That you're going to get the Hyper 30 build, unless you're at, God mode for this raid. The Hyper 30 mode, Hyper 30, you're going to take more damage on one individual ship because of the lesser evade of using GS3.
Okay, because
Or 3 because of the reduction in the evade.
they're all built the same, and I think I had built them like that, like between.
Well, yeah, but the first ship is going to take
Yeah,
the brunt of the accuracy-based weapons.
and it sure does. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, as opposed to Guidance Scrambler 3 softens that because of the higher evade, but you're going to take more damage from the corrosive. It's a trade-off. I'm not sure which one's right.
But at X1, does that all go away?
On these targets, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the next set of targets are gonna.
Yeah, because if I recall, there were like 3 specials we weren't sure about, right? So I built everything less those 2 specials, and things have changed since then.
Yeah.
And okay, all right. Well, that explains why that's all screwed up.
Well, it's not necessarily screwed up. It's
Well, in my mind.
yeah. It just is what it is as far as.
Well, I don't think I could do a target. I mean, I think I'd lose the flag. I waited the 5 minutes for everything to come up, and then started, and it's like I didn't even get half done. So I don't get it. All right.
Oh, yeah. James Hayes is not running any evade specials on the 140 and about 30. Okay, you're taking about twice the damage that I am, but okay. Okay, no evade specials, so no Hyper 30, no Guidance Scrambler 3. They're just going straight survival, and RB Mickey seems to be doing the same thing. So no evade, even though, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It's weird.
what are you guys built that you're not running any evade? Okay. Yeah, and the 511 takes a while to hit, correct? I just haven't hit it personally. It just looks like, Yeah, because I'm curious what the special you replaced the the evade with, because there's not much. Well, speaking of which, we should go back to what people might find more interesting, and then we can come back to the raid. As far as what to do with Prometheus, is I think what you're using, RB Mickey. So, once you finish this one up, TSM, we might want to go back and hit the 511 a little bit, but I want to see what everybody thinks about what to do with the C9 capstone and whatnot. I think that could be informative.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see what you're. All right, almost no corrosive damage, 1%, and 3% on the penetrative, 54% evaded, and 6 minutes or 8 minutes. I can't tell.
That's 8 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
So interesting. The evade crew was better because I got better timing of the evade crew. So that was for my interest. I wanted to see if the penetrative would have helped, but actually it didn't help a great deal, to be honest. The evade would have been better. So the higher evade, which obviously they give you some as well when you upgrade, it's definitely helping evade some of the Death Sive missiles as well. A little. It must be, because that's about 3 minutes more, and again that could just be down to driving, but that's about 4 minutes more than what I was getting before and what I did in the video. So but still, obviously dock, and then it's still free, isn't it? So it's not the end of the world, is it?
No, it's far from the end of the world. A lot of people would prefer to have that situation. Lady Cat, could you go to the next slide?
Next one. Everest.
Yeah, this is one. This is the change I made in my personally in the Cloudbreaker Everest. My flag on the left-hand side is what I had prior to the release of the C9 capstone. And on the right-hand side is what I currently have. You see the damage remains the same. The explosive reload goes down, but the mortar reload goes up. That's all a wash. Yada, yada, yada. The things that people want to look at is probably projectile speed. I went from 213 with that build, below that to 220. So I got an increase in projectile speed. I got an increase in splash from plus 62 to 114. And then if I go down to movement, I went from 70 combat speed to 80 combat speed. I got rid of HVR. I got rid of the RFX engine. I got rid of explosive 4. I replaced them with the capstone engine, the high yield warheads, and what is it? Prometheus? Is it the Prometheus mortar system, or what's the name of that one? Does anybody know off the top of their head? I think it's Prometheus mortar system.
Ascension?
What?
For the Everest, right?
Yes, this is for the Cloudbreaker Everest. It's Prometheus missile system or mortar system, correct? I'm just looking for the name to be correct.
Yeah. I don't want to be wrong here. I was going to say Ascension, but
Oh, yeah, it could be Ascension. It could be Ascension. Yeah, Ascension could be it. But making those changes,
Yeah, it's Ascension.
I
maybe
don't
it is,
see.
yeah.
Yeah, Ascension. Okay, I don't see any. I mean, oh yeah. Also, my evade went up by 7, but I don't see any negatives unless you didn't like my build originally, because I concentrate my Gale 4s on my flag. So I don't see anything negative about, and also my penetrative and my survival went up as well. So you might not like my original build, but I don't see any negatives in doing this as far as getting the C9 caps done. Okay. So that is what I've done with my flag. We can move on if nobody has any comments or questions or whatnot. My building damage went down from 872 to 845 and 2168 to 2105. But this is not the damage dealer in the group. Nobody has anything. We can go on to the next one. All right, this is the normal ships. Again, we're going to have a 10% or a 10 increase in combat speed. And the big thing, all I did was swap engines at this point. But the thing I was allowed to do by swapping engines was actually increase the number of mortars I had. Therefore, I've got a 17% increase, and I think around there, 1.9 million to 2.25 million damage, and I didn't really lose anything else. But I gained combat speed. Basically, all I'm showing is, the C9 does not stack with a lot, but it's you can find some things that are going to improve your ship. And you also see increases in survival by 50% on each one of them. So, I don't know.
I'll have to look at it later when I have time to think about it.
Okay. TSM, Mike, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just looking at mine. I must admit, I'm just seeing. I mean, my from your original build is slightly different, but yeah, it is interesting that engine does make actually makes you consider other specials without a doubt.
Well, especially on the flag, if you're using the flag as your anti-mortar base, you can make some good changes on your flag while speeding the ship up by 10 combat speed. That's what happens basically on the back ships.
Yeah, which is important, obviously, getting through those ice fields, which are, the sooner you can get through those, and it might only sound like 10, but it's, every second counts, doesn't it, with those things? Because the HT turrets come at you pretty, they might get one more volley, and one more volley, is a lot.
Yeah, or one less volley coming at you. Yeah, both sides.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so it's a double, a double bonus. Yeah.
I can't see the screen real well. And the armors, are they all M armors on the back?
I didn't change the armors.
I can't read them. Are there 3 and 3?
It's 3 and 3. Yeah.
Okay,
they're 3 and 3. On the back ships, yeah.
Okay, all right. That's the way I have it. I have 3 and 3, but I
That's not really the part I was concentrating on. I was
understand
concentrating more on the
engine.
change in specials, and then for the back ship, the amount of weight you lost with this build allows you to throw another mortar on and drop a gale, because you're weight constraint prior to this.
So total of 2 gales or 1 on the back ship?
2 gales and an MDS3.
Yeah, that's what I already have. Okay.
But you're not full up on the new armors.
No, right. That's why.
This allows you, if you're full up on the new armors, this allows you to go add an additional mortar.
Which is what I had originally for the old armor, and then I had to fit this armor on, and then I actually had to switch it out again, and like I say, put one extra countermeasure instead because I was overweight. So,
well, I'm still confused. In the end, do you have 2 gales and 1 MDS3, and the rest are mortars?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I already have that. All right, good. So I just change the capstone, then I can put the other 4 armors on, and I'll be done.
I mean, for the individual that's a bit sort of like hasn't caught up so well and hasn't changed the armors yet, if they do get the engine in this raid, they're in a better position because obviously I've had to refit once and then refit twice now. You know, whereas they'll be just putting the new armors on and the new engine and away they go sort of stuff.
So the engine and 4 armors is like 1 day 16 hours.
Oh, right, okay. That could
And
be worse.
and with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mortars, 1 MDS3, and 2 gales.
Okay. Yeah. It was. I'm basically trying to, because a lot of people were not liking the Everest engine, the C9 capstone originally, because there was a lot of things that did not stack with, and so it felt like things had been released at the wrong time, because like the K2, the Ascension system, they were like, okay, well, it's not stacking with this, it's not stacking with, I'm going to use HVR, and this feels like giving you the ability to be like, I don't really need to use HVR anymore, is the way I look at it. Because
you'll find out next week.
Well, so let's go back one, Lady Cat. This is where the bulk of it goes on. I mean, my projectile speed previously was 213.
213, yeah.
And now I think it's 220. So I've increased it by 7%. What would make me regret this decision?
So you've got, I've got screen share in the way.
I've increased everything across the board on the flag. But again, your original bill was different. I think I don't really see anything negative. How was your build different originally? So, the spread got tighter, splash went up. Oops, I think we lost TSM for a moment. Let's see if he pops back in. And again, I'll post the link in case anybody wants to pop up, because we have definitely have spots open in case anybody wants to talk about this or has questions associated with it. Does anybody else have anything much to say?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna end this show at this point. I need to go, take a leak and get another beer. Unless TSM wants to pop up and discuss other issues. There we go.
I keep losing my internet connection. I don't know what's going on tonight. The router keeps
Okay.
resetting itself.
Well, okay. If you have anything immediate, but like I've gone to my hour where I need to get a beer and take a leak. Is there anything immediately you see, or is there anything you want to talk about that I could do that, or should we do something else for a minute?
No, we can move. No, we can move on. I mean, and actually, I had a quick look at the build quickly while I was waiting for the router to kick back in, and yeah, it makes sense to do the switch. It makes absolute sense. I mean, you've got more power, you've got more projectile speed. That there are no negatives in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might say more combat speed. More, there's three pluses here.
Yeah.
So I don't see any negatives. I'm just looking at all the other sort of statistics, but yeah, from the general view, there's a win-win here because obviously, you're putting on an extra, you're putting on an extra mortar, and then across obviously 4 ships. That's considerable, and I noticed that when I changed mine, obviously to allow the new armor to come on, that obviously targets, especially the HT the turrets, weren't dying as fast as I wanted them to. So.
Okay.
So it's definitely going to help. And as you said, you're going to get there faster, you're going to hit harder, and actually you're going to have the chance of knocking things down more effectively or efficiently. So it's a bit of a win-win at the moment. So. But then again, obviously they'll bring out new targets and they'll kill off probably the next lower level target when bring a new one in, and then obviously it's just going to be an incremental increase anyway. So we won't actually notice a difference. Unless you don't upgrade.
Because these issues aren't huge. All right. Well, BP next week came out. Thank Frank for giving the heads up.
Right. Okay.
I'm just going to read this. If anybody wants to show anything or whatnot while I, because I need to step away for about 3 or 4 minutes. Contains support for the November Forsaken mission, VXP weekend, and 3 campaigns. Bloody Frenzy. Hold the line in Titan Rise. Blood Frenzy. That's not one that rings a bell with me. Does anybody know what Blood Frenzy is? And then November Designer Diary. Let's take a look at base defense offense. This edition of the Designer Diary examines what's coming up for base hitters and how we're stoking the fires of competition. Posting by the end of the day. November Forsaken mission.
Stoking the fires of competition. What? Is that what they believe they're doing, or is that what they said they're going to do?
That's what they're writing down. World map target update. Keep an eye out for a routine refresh to world map targets following the 10.47 update. Moving forward, bring your zealots to Titanium Resource, Depot level 15, and Pegasus ships to the small Titanium Depot. Good luck. And yada, 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 yada. And that's about it.
Yeah, it's not much in it. I'm just reading it through now myself.
Yeah. So, is there anything that we should focus on for the next, or are we pretty good?
I think we're good. We got great to do.
Yeah, I think Blood Frenzy is new. I don't remember it either.
I don't recognize it either, to be honest.
Yeah. So a lot of times they claim them as new, but that's a new title for me. So all right, well, the link is up above in case anybody wants to join the after show. I need to go take a leak, so we are going to end the show. You're welcome to join the after show. I'll be back in a few minutes, and thank you all for showing up. And we'll be back on Wednesday when everybody's going to be complaining about the 172, and then they're going to, ramp down the damage. So thank you all for showing up, and best of luck in the raid.